Joseph S. Hennessey. Well, I went to Pine High School in Ansonia, Connecticut. I never graduated. I went in the service. When I turned 17, I tried to go in the Coast Guard. And they were swearing me in. And they found out that, they said, oh, you didn't have your colorblind test yet. Well, they showed me that round circle on a piece of paper. I couldn't see it. I was colorblind. See, they threw me out. I went to the Navy twice trying to get in and threw me out. So then I went down and signed up for the draft. Yeah, I got sent to Fort Devens, Massachusetts. And from there I went to camp. At that time it was Camp Hood, Texas. And today it's Fort Hood. Six of us left there to go to fire troops. One of them flunked out. The other four went to the South Pacific. I was the only one that went to Europe. They went to I think they went 11th Airborne. They joined. I mean, it was all volunteers. There was no, you couldn't be just put in there. Well, I went to Fort Benning. You took, like, say you had A stages, all calisthenics. Then you had to learn how to in the harness and turn and tumble on the sawdust pits, and then you got in these mock towers. You jumped out and you went down on a cable. Then they put you up on the 250-foot towers and let you drop with the chute. Then you had you fold your own parachutes when you made your first 5 jumps.
So now, once you were a paratrooper, where did you go after that? After Fort Benning?
I got shipped to Camp McCall, North Carolina. And I was in the 13th Airborne. And I took a basic training with them. A lot of running. All you ever did was run. You get caught going to the latrine if you were walking and you were doing push-ups. I only weighed about 165 pounds. That's where I learned the machine gun, you know, in the 13th Airborne.
What type of machine gun?
Light machine gun, 30 caliber. You had assistant gunner and you had the machine gunner. You had a belt of a can. What the bullets is, this belt in, it comes out of the can, it goes in. And the assistant machine gunner, he'd make sure he was feeding that into it, you know. I fired from the hip, almost a whole belt through it, and at a target. And that's when I got to Europe, that's when the company commander says, "That gun is yours."
So now, do you remember much about going overseas?
Yeah, I was on a troop ship, and the puke was on the floor about this deep. Oh man, that's an experience to go over on a troop ship. I slept up on the deck and everything. I didn't get down that hole. Yeah, guy up, we had bunks all up. That guy up in the top bunk, the only thing you could see of him is his mouth leaning over and.
Where did you guys land? Did you land in Ireland or England?
No, in England. This is in Glasgow.
Where did they set you guys up at?
Well, then they went down into from there. Ship was out of Silton Folliot in England. That was just outside of Hungerford. Well, they put us in the 502, yeah. But we weren't assigned to no company as yet. The ones that were over. They took 3 of those guys that were with us, and they put them in, and they jumped to Normandy. Well, they had 3 of us. They says, "You're in reserve. If we need you, you're going." But we never went. I never went to Normandy.
After D-Day, Joe Hennessey was assigned to Item Company of the 3rd Battalion, 502nd Parachute Infantry Regiment. Though he stayed in reserve for the Normandy drop, he experienced combat during the 502nd subsequent jump behind enemy lines in Holland. Operation Market Garden commenced on September 17, 1944, marking the next significant engagement for Allied airborne units following the Normandy campaign. It would be the largest deployment of paratroopers for a single mission during the war. The objective for I Company was to advance toward the town of Best upon landing. Joe's battle with the Germans was about to begin.
Day was just like this here, beautiful day. And yeah, it's nice, like a Sunday jump. I got hit right across here on the way down with something, I don't know what it was. And I never even knew I got hit until I was walking around and the blood was running down my leg. Oh, I landed right in the assembly area because the company commander right then says, dig in, you know. Well, there was a squad of H Company was they left them back in reserve, and we went off to get them, to find them. There was just one squad of us. Well, our lieutenant, he got us lost, and we never did find the squad. Well, that night, we bedded down in this, got to lay down in this ditch, and there was Germans going by all night long, walking by, but we just let them go. I mean, there was too many of them. Well, I don't know if it was the first comment on that, but we got in between our lines and the Germans, and we were in the middle, and they were both shooting at us. But they didn't know who we were, you know. And then we got in contact with ours, and they let us crawl up into there. So none of us got hit, though, from out of the squad at that time. Then we started up into Best. Well, we got getting slaughtered going up through there, so we all pulled back because there was tanks up in there, artillery, infantry, everything up on Best at that time.
Now, did you ever get wounded besides that hit on the leg?
I got hit in Bastogne. I got hit with all shrapnel out here. Our own Bazooka did that. There was a tree pull box, you know, all logs and everything. I stuck the machine gun in the slot, and he hit the door with the Bazooka. And I got sprayed with all small stuff. It was nothing real bad, but all small stuff. And we got about 10 or 12 we got out of there, in there. And they come out, and there was one had a Red Cross on, a medic. I called him over, he put the stuff on, so I wouldn't get blood poison, you know. He put bandage on it and everything, passed it up. We went from down around Best, the lower part, we went up into Nijmegen. Went up on the canal there. Well, I know one thing there, we were on trying to get on the canal, and the two guys in the hole next to me, the Germans must have come over at night, and they took them, you know, captured. They took them out, and all night they were over there screaming. They were torturing them. They wanted us to come across after them, you know. The company, well, the lieutenant says, nobody goes over there because that's what they're waiting for you. I wish they would be, you know. So we never did go over. But I heard they found those guys later on. One of them in the canal and one of them somewhere else. They found the two of them dead. There was Mitchell and Malone.
So now after Operation Market Garden in Holland, did you guys go back to France?
Well, we went back to France. I went back as an advanced detail. Well, on the way down, it was raining, open trucks, and that. So there was 6 of us. And there's only 2 from a company was going back, but the guy that was in my company, he stayed on the truck, and I went off to get warm, and 6 of us come out, the convoy was gone. So we hitchhiked, and we rode donkey carts. I rode the tanks from coming down out of Holland, the English, I guess they were going into Cologne and Aachen, you know. We rode those tanks. So then we got on and rode a train, you know, got down into Belgium. I can tell you what it's down there. We got no money.
Where the hell have you been?
Nothing to eat. So we got
I see both.
in this like a it wasn't a mess, a building, and
No, I gotta say.
all black, or black, probably engineers or something like that, you know. So we asked this black sergeant for something to eat. Oh, he says,
Hey, nice seeing you.
I only got enough for our own boys. We can't feed you. So who comes down with the white officer there, you know? Mess officer. He says, what's the trouble? Oh, these guys want something to eat. I told them there's not enough only for our own boys.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, he said, that's right. Well, one of the guys who were with us, he pulled the grenade off, pulled the pin, slammed his hand on the table. He said, well, either I eat them or walk out. the place cleared right out. The only one in there was the 8 of us. The 6 of us, and the mess sergeant, and the officer. And this white officer, take it easy now. Okay. Man, he was turning white, and the black guy, he was turning white too. And he said, put the pen back in, put it in, don't get nervous, put it in, we'll give you something to eat. Well, they give us something to eat, and we left. After we ate, so we better get out of here because they'll be calling MPs or something, you know.
Told me this story yesterday.
And well, outside I said to him, what if he said no? He says, I wasn't going to lie to him. You just know where to go.
Was trying to get rid of me.
Oh, gee.
So now, what do you remember about Bastogne, the Battle of the Bulge?
Oh, well, we were up there. We dug in one specific hole. That's where we stayed all the time. Yeah. Dug a good one. I could lay down in it, you know, and that. Like I was this way, and the assistant gunner was this way, you know. The house next door. They had, we were over there trying to get something to eat. Some food or something. There was nothing in there. I found some candles. So I took those candles every time I was on watch or something. At night, I'd light those candles. Light those candles in the hole. Let it. They'd be surprised. It knocked a good 10 degrees off that hole at night.
Yeah.
Oh, it changed your flight?
You were right on the front lines, right, with the 30 caliber?
Oh yeah.
All right, well, I'll come back and watch.
I got hit.
Okay, you just hang out here.
I got hit right.
Once you guys start drinking.
I got hit right there.
Oh, God.
With the
There's other hallways.
with the helmet right there. You can lay it could have went down and it hit me right here. But it went up. You can lay your finger in the groove. It went through, cut the wool disc cap about 2 inches, cut the two helmet liner straps in half, knocked me out cold. I don't know how long I was out.
We used to live on the west side in the old
I
days.
come to, I thought somebody hit me on the head with something. But then when I see the helmet, then later on,
You lived there all your life?
that's when Taylor came back from, he was in Washington. He came back, and I was wearing the helmet. He said, boy, I bet you were glad you weren't wearing that helmet, you know. I said, well, I think if you looked at it, you'll find out I was glad I was wearing it. He looked at it. You're right, he says. It's a good thing you were wearing that helmet. I went in the hospital after 6 months, and somebody stole that out. I don't know whatever happened to it. At that time, there was these, the field in front was all snow, and this full-blooded Indian we had, first scout, he says to the sergeant, there's something moving out there, you know. He says, I don't see nothing.
I forget now.
A little while later, he says, there's something moving out there. Well, hell, he says, shoot it. Well, he shot it, and the whole field rolled over. They're all coming, they was crawling through the fields in white uniforms. The Germans were, you know. So we caught them in the middle of the field. Oh, we did a job on their infantry. We practically wiped their infantry out. And there was three tanks were coming with them, and knocked out this TD down in back of a building. He come out and he knocked out two of the tanks. But the big Tiger Royal they had there, the shells were just bouncing right off that.
So are any of your kids?
Now, did you ever have a problem with your feet at all?
I froze them. I froze my feet there. That's how I went in the hospital. I left the outfit and I joined them back up 6 months later.
We go to a place, park it.
I laid in bed for about 2 months with my feet outside the covers all the time. Every morning there'd be a pile of skin on the floor all the time from the dead skin, you know. They were black. They took me in a couple of times to check them out. And every time you went out, this is in England. When you went out, if they didn't come back, something was cut off. So I came back both times, so I was all right. They were feeding me whiskey all the time. That's what they had. Well, those they had nothing to treat transport with. They didn't know what to do with it. Stayed there, and when they got better, they discharged me to a convalescent hospital. I was on my way back to the outfit. I was in Bonn, Germany, when the war ended in Europe.
Did you have enough points to go back home?
Oh yeah, I had enough points to go in probably October, but I went to school in England, and I missed a couple of boats coming home. And that's when they put me on they put me in the stockade, and they took me up onto the MPs took me up, and well, what they did, they told me, he says, "You Hennessey?" I says, "Yeah." Well, he says, "Pack your stuff." I said, "Why? What'd I do?" He said, "No, he said, ain't what you've done, it's what you're not going to do." He says, "You missed 2 boats, you're not missing no more." So he put me on the stockade, then they took me up to the gangplank, and when they're going up there, my name was on KP. I said, "Hell, they ain't going to get me for no KP on this thing." So I just slept all over the ship. And every time you went to eat, a lot of times they were checking the ticket to find out who you are, you know. Well, I wouldn't eat. So I walked up to walking around, I walked up to the front, and I found this guy was on guard doing. So I'm talking to him, you know. I told him, "Boy, I can't eat there. They're checking for a guy who's going to put me on KP." So he said, "Well, stand guard for me." He says, "And I'll go down to the mess hall, see if I get something." He come back with some sandwiches, peanut butter and mustard on the sandwich. I said, "Why didn't you just put peanut butter on?" "Well, that's all was on the table, so I put both of them on."
What did you do after the war?
I worked as a millwright in a factory that made all big, heavy machinery.
Oh, well, I'm the only
I
one.
moved it, prepared it, and
From H company?
set it up, and everything else.
Oh, Sprout. Oh, yeah, Sprout. Yeah.
Now, another one's here today, but I haven't seen him. What's his name?
H company?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hennessey. That was.
Goddamn, somebody told me.
Thank you. And I've got this phone number.
I think so.
Well, you better have it, because I don't have it.
I heard he was here today.
Okay.
I don't know what his name.